Good morning and welcome to Tuesday's Year 4 Maths. And today we're moving on to solving word problems using multiplication and division. So today we will be using the methods that we have been learning for multiplication and division to solve problems. We will also be using bar models to help us understand what a problem is asking us to do. So it's really important that when we're faced with a word problem, we use a bar model to help us understand what we've got to do to work out the problem. Okay. So let's warm our brains up first of all. So you have got 1 minute to think of as many words as you can related to multiplication. So you find yourself a timer and pause this video and then come back after 1 minute. Okay, so hopefully you've written down as many words as you can think of related to multiplication. Let's have a look at some words that you may have written down. Okay, so we can see we've got times, lots of, altogether, groups of, product of, equal groups, total, and array. So you may have got lots of those, or you might have even thought of some different ones as well. So well done if you did that. So let's have a look at the in focus task for today. Lulu has 155 beads. Holly has 4 times as many beads as Lulu has. How many beads do Lulu and Holly have all together? So now you need to think about, are we going to use multiplication or division to help us solve this problem, and how do you know? So read the problem again and have a think about what we know from this problem that tells us that we're going to do either multiplication or division. So just pause the video for a moment and have a think about what we're going to do to work this problem out. Okay, so hopefully you've looked through the problem. You may have even written down or highlighted the key parts of the question that are going to help you work out what this problem is. So let's read it again and highlight some important information. So there's 2 children involved in this question, Lulu and Holly. And it tells us Lulu has 155 beads. So we already know how much beads Lulu has. Holly has 4 times as many, 4 times as many beads as Lulu has. So that gives us a clue what we might have to do. And then the question at the bottom is, how many beads do Lulu and Holly have all together? Now we know from our brain warm-up that all together tells us that we're going to have to do multiplication. So well done if you highlighted those key parts. So the first thing that we need to do when we're faced with a word problem like this is we need to draw a bar to represent what is happening in this problem. So we've just highlighted before some key information from the question that's going to help us work out what we need to calculate. So pause the video and I'd like you to have a go at drawing out a bar model to represent this problem so we know what we've got to do. Okay, so hopefully you've drawn out your bar. So let's draw one out together so we can see what the problem is asking us to do. So like I said before, we've got 2 children in this problem. We've got Lulu, so we can draw Lulu's bar. I'm going to draw a bar for Lulu. And I already know how much that bar is worth because we know that Lulu has 155 beads. So I can write that in my bar here, 155. That's her total amount of beads. Then I need to draw a second bar for Holly. And let's have a look what we know about Holly. So she has 4 times as many beads as Lulu. So I don't know how many she has in total, but I do know she has 4 times as many as Lulu. So I can draw a bar that's 4 times the size of Lulu's bar. So I can draw it like this. So I can see clearly that it's 4 times as big as Lulu's bar. Okay, and I can actually fill that in further because I know that each part that I've drawn here is worth 155 because Holly has 4 times the amount as Lulu. So I can put 155 in each box here. You don't have to, but it might help you work out what we need to do next. So the question says, how many beads does Lulu have altogether? So let's have a think about what we could do now looking at this information, what we have to do. Do we know how much Holly has altogether? No, we don't. So that is the first step that we need to do. We need to work out how much Holly has altogether. But the question says, how many beads does Lulu and Holly have altogether? So then we've got to add all the amounts together. So let's have a little look at what we need to do there. So this is like the bar that I've just drawn out, and you can see Lulu has got 155. Holly has got 4 times as many, but we don't know the total of Holly's bar yet, and we don't know how many the girls have altogether. So here is one method that you can use to solve the problem. So pause the video again and have a look at what this method is asking you to do, and can you work out the answer? So let's have a go at working out this method. So it's already got the multiplication problem laid out for you here. So let's work that out because we know Holly has 4 times as many. So we need to do 155 times 4. So we can use the methods that we've already looked at during this chapter. So I'm going to start with my ones. So 4 times 5, which gives me 20. So I can put the 0 underneath, and then I need to put the 2 in the tens column. And then I move on to timesing my tens. 4 times 5 again, which is 20, but then I add that 2 on, which gives me 22. So then I can put the 2 in there, and then I need to carry that other 2 over to the hundreds column. Then I need to do 4 times 100. So 4 times 1 is 4. Let's add the 2 on, and that gives me 6. So altogether, Lulu has 620 beads. Fantastic. But remember that the question was, how many does Lulu and Holly have all together? So we now know that Holly has 620 beads, and we already knew Lulu has 155 beads. So now we need to add those amounts together. So there's 2 steps to this method. So I can add 155, add 620. Okay, so I could use my addition methods to help me work out this problem. And I know if I add those 2 amounts together, I can get 775. Okay, so altogether, Lulu and Holly have 775 beads. So well done if you got that answer. There is also a different method that we could use to solve this problem. So I want you to have a look at this method before we have a go at working it out and think about how these methods are different. So what is happening here? How is this different to the previous method? So just pause the video for a moment, have a think, have a go at working out this method instead. Do we get the same product, the same answer? Okay, so this time it's asking you to do 155 times 5. And the reason why we're doing that instead of timesing by 4, like we did in method 1, is that we can see that there are 5 lots of 155 all together. So Lulu's 155 and then Holly's 4 parts of 155. So instead of doing 2 steps like we did before, actually we can just do it all in 1 step by timesing by 5. So let's have a go at working out this problem. So 5 times 5 is 25. So we can put the 5 in here and the 2 at the top. 5 times 5 again is 25, but remember I need to add those 2 tens on, so it would be 27. Put the 2 in the hundreds column, and then 5 times 1, which is 5, add the 2, which is 7. So I can see I get the same product, 775, which I know is my answer. So have a little bit of a think. Which method did you prefer? Which one did you find the easiest to do? Which one did you go for when you worked it out? You might have gone straight for method 2 when you saw the question. Okay, so now they have changed the problem slightly. Okay, so let's read it out together. What if the story is Holly has 4 times as many beads as Lulu has? Together they have 155 beads. How many beads does Holly have? So the question has slightly changed. So before we have a go at working this out, we can see that the bar has already been drawn for us. It looks very similar to the bar that we drew previously, but some parts have changed. So have a look and think about what is the same and what is different about this problem compared to the first problem that we did. Okay, so pause the video and think about how this one is the same and what is different. Okay, so we can see that this time we have found out, we've been given the total already of the girls' beads altogether, which is 155, but we don't know the parts yet. So that's what we've got to work out this time. So if we know the total, but we've got to find out the parts, we're not going to be multiplying this time. Instead, we are dividing, and it's nicely laid out the first problem for us because we've got 155 is our total and there are 5 parts. So we know we must do 155 divided by 5. Okay, so have a go at working out that method. 155 divided by 5. So think back to last week's division methods that we learned. Pause the video and have a go at that method. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go at working out this problem, 155 divided by 5. So let's go through it together just so we're getting the right answer. So I can lay it out. This is one of the methods that we looked at last week. Okay, so first of all, I look at how many 5s go into the number 1. Well, I can't do that because 5 is bigger than the digit 1. So I can then look at the next 2 columns together as one number. So the number 15. How many 5s go into the number 15? Well, we know that that is 3. So so I can put 3 at the top there. Then I just look at my last digit, which is 5. How many 5s go into 5? Well, that is 1. So altogether, my answer is 31. What could I do to check my answer? Have a think. Well, I could do the inverse. I could do 31 times 5, because that's the inverse. And if I got the answer 155, then I know I've got it correct. So this tells me that each part is worth 31. So if I wanted to, I could fill in that. So I could fill in that each part is worth 31. So the first part of my question has already been answered. Lulu has 31 beads, but we still need to work out how many beads Holly has, because that was my question at the start. So now I know that each part is worth 31. What is my calculation going to be? Holly's got 4 parts, each worth 31. So let's have a look. What do we need to do? We need to multiply. So well done if you thought that. So we've got 31 times 4. Super. So you can use the same methods that we did before. So we can do 31 times 4. So 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So the answer to how many beads Holly has is 124. So well done if you got that one right as well. So now if you're feeling confident at giving these word problems a go, you can try worksheet 17, which is on pages 129 to 130. So look, this is the first page, and then this is the 7th page. So let's have a think about some top tips before you have a go at doing this worksheet. What is going to help you to solve these problems? Well, what you could do is underline the key information in the problem. That's really going to help you focus on what you need to do. Think about those keywords that help us know whether we've got to multiply or divide, and have a think about what it's telling you. And before you start working it out, draw a bar to help represent the problem. The bar doesn't work the question out, but it helps us work out what steps we need to take to work the problem out. So have a go at the worksheet. If you feel like you need a bit more practice, then carry on watching the video, and I'm going to go through another question with you. But if you're feeling confident, pause the video, have a go at the worksheet. Give yourself plenty of time, and remember to draw that bar to help you show what you need to do. Okay, so if you'd like some more practice, we'll go through this question together. So let's read out the problem to start with. Emma spent 6 days folding some paper cranes. She folded 32 paper cranes each day. She needs to fold 250 paper cranes altogether. How many more paper cranes does she need to fold? So there's lots of information here, and there's going to be 2 steps to this problem. So let's highlight the information first. So Emma spent 6 days, so that's important information, folding some paper cranes. She folded 32 paper cranes each day. So 32 paper cranes each day. She needs to fold 250 paper cranes altogether. So that's the total we already know. How many more? How many more? That tells us we're going to need to do a second step here. So let's draw a bar to solve this problem. So pause the video, have a go at drawing a bar to solve this problem, to show us how to solve this problem. Okay, well the first bar that we can draw is about how many paper cranes Emma was able to make. So we could draw one large bar. Okay, with a wiggly bar there. And we know she spent 6 days, so I can split my bar into 6 equal parts. Okay, so I've got 3 here, and then I've got 3. Hopefully your bar is a bit straighter than mine. And then we know how many paper cranes she made in each of those days. So I can put in the number 32 for each of my parts, because that is how many paper cranes she made per day. And in total, she did it for 6 whole days. So I can put in 32 there to help me visualize that I know that's what she did every day. But I don't know how many cranes she made altogether. Now this sentence here could trick us out because it does say altogether, but that's how many she needs to fold, so like her target, not actually how many she did manage to make. So we need to work out the total number of cranes that Emma made. So we know we've got to multiply. So we need to do 32 times 6, because that is how many days Emma made those paper cranes. Okay, so if you haven't already, have a go at working out 32 times 6. Okay, let's go through that together. Then 32 times 6, so I can put 32 at the top. I've got to times it by 6. So I can do 6 times 2, or 6 times 2 is 12. And then I can do 6 times 3, which is 18. And then I add that 1 on to give me 19. So the answer is 192. So that is how many paper cranes Emma managed to fold in those 6 days. But that doesn't answer my question at the bottom. So it's 2 steps, remember. We need to work out how many more paper cranes she needs to make. So we know that this is her target, 250, and this is how many she did make. Now we know to find the difference, to find how many more, we need to subtract. So we need to do 250 take away 192. Okay, so we can do that in column subtraction, if that helps, or you could use other methods that you find best works for you for subtraction. Okay, so the answer to 250 take away 192 is 58. And that answers our question. Emma needs to fold 58 more paper cranes. So well done, because that was a tricky one. So now, if you've gone through this question with me, have a go at doing worksheet 17. Now, have a go. Remember, draw that bar first, underline the key information, and give yourself a go. Okay, if you have finished your worksheet and you want to continue challenging yourself, then there are some extension questions for you here. So there are some practicing of using your division methods, and there are also some more word problems for you to have a practice at. Okay, so you can do those in your journal or just on a piece of paper. Okay, once you've had a go at those extensions, then you can now mark your answers. So these answers are also on the PDF document on the website, but you can have a look at them here. So they have drawn a bar for these problems. Your bar may look slightly differently, but as long as it helped you work out what you needed to do. Okay, and the same over here, some more bar models shown. So yours again might look slightly differently, but that's okay. And you can see they've written the answers in sentences just so they make sure they're answering the correct question. So well done if you also wrote your answers in sentences too. Okay, to finish off the lesson, you may want to practice your 7 times table. So you can use this link and it's a bit of a song using the 7 times table if you want to. Okay, so well done for today and super work.